photo behind me is from one of the most gruesome and infamous true crime cases in US history, and after 78 years it's still unsolved. She was found perfectly cut in half, completely drained, and posed like a mannequin on the side of a Los Angeles street. This is the unsolved case of Elizabeth Short, aka the Black Dahlia. Elizabeth Short was a 22-year-old drifting through LA back in 1946 with dreams of Hollywood stardom. She had kind of an edgy goth vibe which stood out back then, but people said she was super charismatic, but also she would just get really sad all of a sudden. She was living paycheck to paycheck, waitressing, bouncing between hotels and nightclubs, and then in January of 1947, Elizabeth disappeared after being dropped off at the Biltmore Hotel in downtown LA. Witnesses saw her use the lobby phone and said she looked kind of sketched out, but then she simply disappeared for like 6 days before they found her body. And then about a week later on January 15th, a mom who was walking with her child in the early morning hours thought she saw a mannequin dumped in an empty lot, but it wasn't a mannequin. She thought it was a mannequin because it was so pale white and it was posed in a weird position, but it was actually Elizabeth. She had been cut in two, drained, and then posed in a really morbid way, and her face had been given a Glasgow smile. And it gets a lot worse, and we're going to get into those details. And the picture behind me is actually an airbrushed version that they published in the newspaper. Days later, the newspapers receive a package in mail with Elizabeth's birth certificate, photos, her address book, and a note, all carefully wiped down with gasoline to get rid of fingerprints. The person who did it was toying with him, but this was just the beginning of that. But who would do this, and who had the skills to have that kind of surgical precision?